Okay, in this video we are going to factor by grouping 4 terms, and these are the 3 problems that we will solve together. But before we solve these 3 problems, it's important to kind of know the process. These are my 3 steps. Step 1 says group the terms. First 2 and last 2 terms we're going to group. Second step says factor each group separately. Third says combine and clean up. So let's apply those 3 steps. So the first step says group the terms, first 2 and last 2. So first 2 and last 2. That's step 1. Step 2 says factor each group separately. So we're going to factor this piece and we're going to factor this piece. So between these 2 pieces, we think, what's the greatest common piece? So they both have a 2. That's good. He's x raised to 3, he's x raised to 2. The smallest one is x raised to 2. So we're going to put x squared. We'll put a parentheses. 2x squared times what gives you 2x cubed? Well, times x. 2x squared times x is 2x cubed. Plus 2x squared times what gives you 2x squared? Times 1. Close parentheses. Plus, we're going to do the exact same thing with this piece. 5x and 5. What's the greatest common piece between the 2? 5. 5 times what gives you 5x? X. 5 times what gives you 5? 1. Okay, now we see something that's common. So we see that this piece and this piece is the same. Because they're the same, we get to keep it. So we're going to copy it. X plus 1. And the piece that is different, this piece and this piece, we're going to put into a new parentheses. 2x squared plus 5. And so this right here is our answer. And I'll even show you how we can even check to make sure that this is in fact the correct answer. So the way we can check to make sure this is the correct answer is by expanding. Now, you don't have to do this every time. Just do it once just to prove it to yourself that this actually works. So we're going to use a distributive property. X times 2x squared would give us 2x cubed. X times 5 is 5x. 1 times 2x squared is 2x squared. 1 times 5 is 5. And let's see, does it match? 2x cubed, 2x cubed. 2x squared, 2x squared. 5x, 5x, 5, and 5. And we're going to do 2 more problems. The second one, same thing. We're going to group the first 2 and the last 2 pieces. Then we think, what's the greatest common factor between these 2 pieces? Well, 3 can go into both numbers. He's x raised to 4, he's x raised to 3, so the smallest one is x raised to 3. Parentheses, 3x cubed times what gives you 3x to the 4th times x. 3x cubed times what gives you negative 6x cubed minus 2. Close parentheses. Now we'll do those 2 pieces, 6x and negative 12. Well, 6 can go into both. 6 parentheses, 6 times what gives you 6x, x. 6 times what gives you negative 12 will be negative 2. And again, we see that this term and this term matches. Now you may ask, what happens if one of the pieces doesn't match? I would recommend, again, if you have 4 terms, to make sure you didn't make any math errors. Because if your teacher assigned this problem and you are learning about this grouping method, then this should always match. If it doesn't, you most likely made a math error, or maybe your teacher is trying to test you by showing you a problem where you would have to say that you can't group it any further, or you can't factor it. But we'll continue with this problem. So again, this piece and this piece matches, so we will copy it, x minus 2. And then we do the leftover pieces. So he's a leftover and he's a leftover. 3x cubed plus 6. Okay, this is one minor thing that we can do additionally for this problem. So we have a 3x cubed plus 6. So you could take out a 3 because 3 can go into both numbers. So you can actually rewrite this by saying 3 parentheses. 3 times what gives you x cubed? X cubed. 3 times what gives you 6 plus 2. And then we put this piece. That's another way to write this problem. Both are correct, but I guess this is more correct because it's factored further. So right here is our final answer in black. Okay, our last problem, again, factor the first 2 and last 2. And we see what's common between these 2 pieces. A 2 can go into both. X raised to 5, x raised to 3. The smallest is x raised to 3. Parentheses, 2x cubed times what gives you 2x to the 5th? x squared, because whenever we multiply this piece times this piece, we're going to add the exponent. So this would be 3 plus 2. That's how we get 5. And then this piece, so 2x cubed times what gives you 6x cubed plus 3, close parentheses, plus, now we have 3x squared plus 9. We got to think, what's the greatest common factor between the two? 3 can go into both numbers, so we put a 3, parentheses, 3 times what gives you 3x squared, x squared. 3 times what gives you 9, plus 3. Again, something matches, this piece and this piece match. Because it matches, we get to copy it. And then we do the leftover piece. So he's a leftover and he's a leftover. So we're going to put the leftovers into another parentheses. And this right here is our final answer. And that's all we need to do to factor by grouping 4 terms.